Welcome to the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast, a show dedicated to driving the positive evolution of financial advice, specifically within Southeast Asia. To join a global community of financial advisors sharing and learning with one another to drive the positive evolution of financial advice, head to xyadvisor.com. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast. Gwen here, and today I am with Bose Dasan, and again, I don't want to butcher this name, Palasingam, and he is the tax and financial planning guru from Kuala Lumpur and a pioneer in the financial planning education in Malaysia. So today we are going to talk about very important topics with regards to financial planning education or financial education in general for Malaysians, and how financial planners can be better at educating their clients. So thank you so much for being in the podcast, Bose.
Welcome. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I want to thank Rajan for suggesting that I be open to your suggestion. And anytime to further the cause and the mission of financial literacy, and I want to add numeracy, I'm all game for it. So I'm happy to be here.
I love it. And I really love your passion. And again, yes, I would also like to thank Rajan for introducing me to you, because I want to pick your brain in this very exciting and important topic. So I know that, or I mentioned earlier, that you are a pioneer in the financial planning education in Malaysia. My first question for you, Bose, is that why did you start financial planning education in Malaysia in the first place, and how did that come about?
Right. I love the question because it was a nice coincidence that a good insurance agent, a good friend of mine and my agent, he said that you are a tax consultant, you are very well educated. By then, I had already done my economics degree, and I went to Cranfield, England to do my MBA. And I had 8 years of tax experience and in the Inland Revenue and also in consultancy. And this insurance agent suggested, it was like we were going through a little bit of a lag period. It wasn't very exciting. So I was sort of roaming or looking for alternatives. And he said, why don't you go to America and look up financial planning? And this was back in 1986. And,
wow.
Yeah, 86. So I wrote a letter to Edwin Morrow, and I told him, he was in Middletown, Ohio. And he said, why don't you come over? And I went over to Ohio. And what a great exposure it was. It was fantastic. Because he himself was running a center, you call it global sort of financial center. And he was a pioneer in America in financial planning. Yeah, nice. So that's right. So, and he sort of exposed me to what was financial planning in America. It was also beginning a nascent industry there, and so that was 86. Then when I came back, I went back again to America and completed the designation called Chartered Financial Consultant from the American College. And so as soon as I came back in '95 after completing the CHFC. In Ohio, Malaysian Insurance Institute, they started hearing about financial planning for all the agents. They were in charge of a whole bunch of agents. And so they said, why don't we bring in financial planning? And there I was, roped in straight away from my qualification as a tax consultant and educator. So I jumped in with the Malaysian Insurance Institute to get into financial planning education. You want me to continue, or you have a question?
Oh, yes. So, no, I was, so yes, I was actually, that's very, I would say serendipitous, right? You were in search for something exciting, and you went to the US, and then when you came back to Malaysia, an opening came for you through the Malaysian
Insurance Institute. Yeah, the Malaysian Insurance Institute. And soon after, the insurance industry themselves decided that we're going to be not sidelined, and they wanted to start their own education of the agents. They wanted to sort of keep it there. As soon as that was coming on in 1999, another group of unit trust agents and public mutual and all of them decided they also better not lag behind. And so they also started the financial planning enterprise, and they formed the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. So we have MII, who are offering the chartered financial consultant, and soon FPAM was offering the certified financial planner, and it took off in 1999.
Wow. And so that's really like a positive trajectory, because in the 80s, you mentioned that there was nothing sort of that thing in Malaysia in the 80s, and then in the 90s, it suddenly grew and, like, should I say, blew up?
Yeah, it was very exciting. In fact, I'm no more in that Malaysian insurance environment. I was also elected a governor with Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. I was a speaker at the inaugural conference of the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. The people from the CFP, Certified Financial Planner, they were all there, and I was one of the local speakers. So it was fantastic. 1,000 people were there in the hall with Tunku and Woon Choi and a few of them. And so it was 3 parties were involved in financial planning. There was the Insurance Institute. There was the agents themselves, their union, insurance agent union, and then there was the unit trust industry. So 3 people claimed, and our regulators were looking at it, and they encouraged all 3 to have their qualification and to go on this journey of financial planning.
Oh, that's so cool, and it's like coming together. But I guess my next question from that was that, how did the atmosphere of the financial education, like, how did it feel like in the 90s compared now to here in the present day? Like, has a lot changed with regards to Malaysians' perception with regards to financial education and financial planning?
That's a very good question. We have our little blips or whatever you want to call it. So I was also aware in America that mainly this industry was indulged by the insurance agents and unit trust agents, and even I have the Series 7 license where you can sell multiple products, including investment products in America. But of course, it's no use over here because we don't have that system of a broker, where the broker then hires all these people to be independently associated with them, and they will handle all the products of these brokers. But in Malaysia, it was like the insurance industry, the leaders of the insurance industry, the leaders of the unit trust industry, they were eager to learn financial planning. Because the promotion in America was that if you are a chartered life underwriter or chartered financial consultant or a CFP, certified financial planner, you would outperform an ordinary agent because of your extra knowledge, your greater understanding, because you hold a wider perspective of financial affairs. So naturally, more people will be drawn towards you. And so financial planners would, by and large, have 3 times the income of an ordinary agent. So everybody jumped in. But let me add this, because the very short interview, so I'll just say this.
Yeah.
Somebody was also telling me, and I recently also tested that, how much of a value proposition are financial planners offering the public, the people at large. So we got 2 systems going on here. The largest number are the individual product, people who handle individual products, be it insurance or unit trust, for example, So these comprehensive financial planners with the fee-based and commission-based and with broker-dealers, this is still a very small industry. Yes. And I was hearing Rajan's talk, and he was saying there's so few financial planners licensed, but there are about 3,000 to 4,000 who are qualified in certified financial planning in a chartered financial consultant. So lot of people are qualified, but
Yes.
to practice, to be viable, a few of them have succeeded, and many are still holding on to their original principal association, be it in insurance or unit trust. So the deep performers, the great performers are still handling for a particular company or the bank. But the banks with bank assurance, they started coming on board with bank assurance and all that, adding on to the product. So they are like a broker-dealer, or what we call institutionalized unit trust handlers, etc. So, but it did not really take on. I'm speaking at 2021 platform today, and I realized that when I asked when I was writing an article, I posted something, and I wanted people to tell me what do you want out of financial planner? How can financial planner better serve you? It was a very small sample, so I should not summarize anything from this. But there's not really much people wanted to say anything. So it is a really, I don't know about Philippines or any other. I know Australia because my first broker dealer, they came from Australia, one of the largest groups in Australia. They invested, they came in, they really expanded, and they have left the scene. Then there are other smaller groups, and I don't know, I don't get the vibration that I got in the early 2000s. It's not really so strong right now. But I think FPAM is doing a good job. I'm sure MII is doing a good job. They are saying that financial planning education is very important. So therefore, using the education to sort of support the products that come with that education is where the game is. So you would see that writing a plan and getting paid a fee, like my friend in America, in Ohio, he had the famous, in Cincinnati, there's a famous group there. So he did the financial planning for the top 20 executives, and he charged them $5,000 or $10,000 USD. So I was very impressed. So when organization says, please do a financial plan for my top executives as a reward, as a financial perquisite, I expected that to take off in Malaysia. It did not. And I don't know about you, but I can guess why. Because we are going on two parallel lines. We are also saying that let the individual suppliers of unit trusts or insurance, let them survive. We even have very large tied agencies under the corporations, and so that has not gone anywhere. And the people are still wondering, will I get good advice? Because I think you will know. I mean, if you start listening to some of the things I've written and talked about, there's so much depth in this financial planning.
Yes.
And you can really help people. And this pandemic, during the pandemic for 1.5 years, I started writing pre-posts, and I sent it to Facebook and LinkedIn. And there were a lot of acceptance. They saw the depth to which financial intelligence, financial decision making, all this can go. We can guide these things. And so, other than personal habits, you can be philosophical about it. I remember in the World Financial Planning Day, October 6th, I posted some reservations. I said, because I said, let's be frank here. Number one, the fundamental principle I've counted. I think both of you and Rajan, I remember talking about George Clayson's The Richest Man in Babylon. Fantastic. Every one of us are saying it. One of the best books ever written on the subject of financial freedom. Now, that's fantastic. And I also share with Rajan and everybody on that point. So what we are saying is that the real money making is in the economy. I mean, I'm a follower of Warren Buffett. I follow Warren Buffett. When Warren Buffett was talking to billionaires and billionaires in one particular session, he went and wrote on the board. He said, okay, 1974, the Dow Jones was 745. 17 years later, the Dow Jones was 745. So he asked the audience, and this included Bill Gates and everybody. So he asked the audience, now, did I make money? The Dow Jones index is the same. Now, the interesting point here was, then Warren Buffett said, I invest in the economy. I don't follow the market up and down, index up and down. And therefore, there lies the truth. And there lies the essence. So everybody should go and work produce GDP, go and produce products and services, get rewarded, paid for it. But then comes the secondary issue. All right, I made some money. Now I want to put it in the right place. So therefore, this guy, George Kinder, said a nice word. The most important inner resource is the ability to earn income and the capacity to save. So there goes the two things. So I am not going to say, give up everything and become an investor. That is foolhardy. You go and work, produce goods and services. But when you're producing surplus income, find good channels to then grow the money, as George Gleason was saying. So therefore, the value proposition of financial planners, whether in Malaysia or Philippines or anywhere else, we are still waiting to get that mental, that yes, I must see you. Oh, who's your financial planner? That's how they talk about those days. Who's your psychiatrist? Or who do you get counseling from? You know, they want now the conversation to be, who's your financial planner? Oh, can you introduce him to me, etc., etc. So to get to that level, that wonderful value proposition of talking to a financial planner, we are working hard, and I think a lot of good people are on that game. Okay, I think I better stall and let you with the question now. Do you have a question?
Well, I definitely agree with your sentiment 100% because there is, and it's the same here in the Philippines. Like there is still a parallel with regards to like the brokers, as you say here, and as well as the financial planners, where that industry is still thriving. While and because here in the Philippines as well, and I think it's the same in Malaysia, that not every citizen know the difference between a financial advisor and a financial planner, or at least like a risk advisor or a financial planner. Some of them think it's the same, and then there are also a lot of people who don't even think that they need one. That they need to hire one. And as you say, it's very important for all the people to remove the stigma with regards to talking about like who is your financial planner, right? Like and that's, I think, is one of the best way that we can encourage everyone to be financially educated is to be able to have an open conversation with regards to how they are dealing with their finances and who they can tap into for help if they are struggling or if they want to know more. So, and I guess that leads me to another question, because there is clearly a gap between the financial education that Malaysians are supposed to have between the one that they currently have right now. So, like, what are some of the gaps that you are able to determine with regards to financial education, and how do you think what are the best ways that we can address them?
Thank God that I have this little exposure having been to America a number of times. So I saw even in that industry, the American College, for example, was giving a fantastic education in financial planning. They had beautiful courses and wonderful material shared. And however, there was a counter organization. So that organization said, we're going to keep it short. We cannot have such a 1-2 year, we want the numbers of financial planners. And so the CHFC, the Chartered Financial Consultants that I originally did with the American College. So here the question was always, you work as a quarterback of a team. That means you bring in other advisors and you are the quarterback and you guide and you integrate all the advisors, the various specialists. So to come to your point, whereas the CFP Institute, they were going on, okay, I'm a financial planner, I handle all these products and I can deliver all these products to you. Now, I'm a tax consultant I joined the income tax department in 1976. That's 45 years in taxation. Now, are you going to tell me that any of these financial planners can match me in taxation? They can't. So you appreciate the depth to which every individual professional can go into, legal-wise, tax-wise, insurance-wise, estate planning-wise, investment-wise. So we have these three major disciplines: tax, insurance, investment, as the cornerstones of financial planning. Now, to get into the depth of these various professions, it's not really easy for a single person to say, okay, I'm educated in these three fields. So what we should encourage is work as a team, but the client is with you. All the products go through you, or the advice goes through you, but you collate the advices of individual experts in the various fields. So this, however, I think there's a little bit misaligned. It's not really aligned in that way. Writing a plan, addressing different areas of a person's finance, like if you want to talk about tax, you want to talk about investments, you want to talk about insurance, you want to talk about estate planning, and also financial management, you got to bring it all together. So the CFP approach is a shorter version of the American College. But guess who's winning? CFP is winning worldwide attention because American College has gone too deep. You give them a good education, but then there's no marketing plan for it. Okay, how do you perform in the industry out there? So we are going there. I mean, we are climbing the steps. We are trying to reach that level where I heard Raju, one of your interviews was very good, where Raju was saying that his team, they always competed on writing good financial plans. They won awards. So they were getting into writing a blueprint. So he's not talking about today in my Facebook friend, he's talking about being a life planner, and he's talking about education funding, insurance for his children, and this and that. They're doing a very good job. So everybody has a mission at their level, whether it's insurance, whether it's unit trust. But the financial planner's value proposition, we really need to increase that, augment that. We really need to put a place there and say, financial planners deliver holistic financial planning because of one major factor, which is very simple. Our resources are limited. So you need the most efficient allocation of resources to do a good job as best as you can to cover all your goals and objectives. So therefore, when people realize, you've got to juggle a lot of things. The finances have to be juggled. So I allocate to insurance so much, investment so much, my retirement so much, my current expenses so much. So this efficient allocation of limited resources is the foundation of financial planning.
That's so.
So therefore, bringing a team on. Now I'm a tax consultant. I am giving a lot of lectures on tax planning. My God, when I write the notes, when I deliver, I'm amazed at how much value tax planning can give to a client. But tell me, how many of the agents out there, the financial planners out there, asked for a tax consultant to be on the team over these 30 years? Sorry, not at all. Because the products come with it. So we are looking at, so I must say, I don't want to be prejudiced here. I'm very education biased.
Yes, that's okay. Please go ahead. This is very interesting.
No. I'm speaking my mind. This is my 20 minutes or 30 minutes of airing my views. So thank you for that. Now, nobody wanted to have my views, so I write it and post it freely in LinkedIn and Facebook. But the point is this. There is value in education. Now, if anybody saw my slides, they realize, oh my God, we can do this, we can do that. Okay, this is what I have to do. Oh, this is impossible. I can't save so much. Then what do I do? And I heard Rajan was talking about you double up your time. You start doing jobs here and there to get that money to allocate to important goals. So see, it guides you, it directs you. And even your other participant, Raju, was talking about his blueprint. So when you have a blueprint and you're guided, hey, I'm trying to reach here. So let me organize myself. So therefore, I do not know. I don't want to summarize Malaysian people as apathetic a little bit. Maybe 80% are struggling to just put food on their table and they're just trying to get on with their lives. And we have a very high savings mechanism. You know that, Rajan was talking about it. EPF, a provident fund, one of the best in the world. Best in the world. Yeah, it is uncomparable. Because I've been to America, I've been to England. I know it's not cannot be compared. It's so good, but yet you are hearing news, and I wrote a piece recently. It's not enough. It's so fast. It's depleted because there are too many leakages, and everybody uses it. Human nature comes in, and so what happens? You are not even getting a retirement capital of 240,000 that gives you 1,000 a month, a ringgit, a very low amount. Our currency is very cheap now. 1,000 ringgit a month is not enough. So I was saying in the recent article I wrote, I said, I need just basic. I paid all my bills. I've paid my indebtedness, my household debt, everything. So even then, I need 3,000 just to survive. So can you imagine if you're a family man and still got things to do and still got liabilities and goals to achieve? Wow. So a country that saves a lot is struggling. So I am an economist, a pseudo-economist. That means I have an economics degree, but another truth of the matter is what we learn is so little. There's a nice saying in Indian saying, what you have learned is just a handful. What you don't know is the world, the size of the world. Yeah. So this is clear. That's why I'm talking about engaging people with depth in their fields, whether it's insurance, risk management, whether it's estate planning, whether it's tax. Get them in and provide value, very value-added services. And the client says, oh, you guys, you're super. Thank you so much. Investment. I'm shocked at the things you can do with investment.
Yeah.
So it goes on. So in my little podcast today is to show that to get a better value proposition, we need to put more depth into our plans. We need to get corporations to say, hey, please help my people. My executives need help. I force them to work not 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours. So we need to also handle their personal financial affairs. Come, can you do it? I mean, we need that kind of enthusiasm in the corporate world and our world. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to you. Christian? Yeah. Okay.
Well, yes, thank you so much for your thoughts. And definitely, and again, I agree with this 100%. Like, there is really a need to, and I'm glad that you're educating financial planners and the people behind this industry as well, because once you educate those people, it is very easy. It's easier for them to educate their clients on the best path to financial education or financial independence, and that's why that you're right. Like, that enthusiasm is very important and crucial for these people in order for not only for the industry to thrive, but for Malaysians to have a better grasp over their finances as well. And it's very interesting that you did mention that nobody hires tax experts in their on their side, right? Like, they have their doctors, some even have their financial planners, but very seldom do I hear people looking for tax experts at their corner to help them out with their finances. And that's true, because I think it's even the same for me. I don't know anyone who I've reached out to with regards to my taxes. And I will also admit that there is a lot that I still need to learn with regards to that. And I think taxes are one of those topics that gets into the very back burner, right? Some people talk about insurance, and some people even talk about investments, but I hardly hear people talk about taxes. If
I allow me to interrupt you, so therefore one of my slogans, tagline would be, tax planning is a capital-free solution to wonderful improvements in your cash flow or your wealth position. Because when you save taxes, you are not coming out with capital. But when you invest in a unit trust, you're coming out with your own money. So suddenly you realize more intelligent thinking, more intelligent planning without capital infusion. You don't have to bring in capital, just bring in the ideas. So therefore, tax planning does not involve capital increment. It just involves doing the right things. Whereas if I want to put in an investment, I've got to come up with the money. If I want to, insure myself, I have to come up with money. So the point, therefore, is people may not understand. Anyway, to be very honest, let me share this. I don't know, for years, 20 over years, the most popular program all the time, whenever beginning of the year, is tax planning. I think FPAM, Financial Planning Research in Malaysia, always hires me to do a tax budget talk or a tax planning seminar. And I've been doing that for over 20 over years. So yes, the idea of a certified financial planner, he wants to learn and keep abreast of tax. And I even had a 300 people webinar, but it was a free webinar for 1.5 hours. But there were 300 people. I didn't get paid, but the point was there were people interested in tax. So I don't want to say our Malaysian planners are lagging behind. No, they understand the value. But to incorporate that into their plan, a tax section. So I remember in Canada, I was in Canada also, that financial planning industry is very well developed in Canada. And they were talking about all that process you go through. Because if it's not holistic, it's not financial planning. So as the insurance industry says, I'm a life planner or I'm an investment planner. And then look at the two industries we have, insurance industry, banks, and then the investment industry. You saw Rajan saying Securities Commission and the Bank Negara, which is controlling the bank and the insurance portfolio. And therefore, you can't use the word financial planner. It's such a generic word, but you cannot use it. I mean, Malaysia did something wonderful. We use the word Malaysia Boleh. I think it is in America, they couldn't do it. They couldn't legislate financial planning. But how a small little country like ours can do it because they've got other agenda on their minds. And also they have an eye on advisors because I don't know, because they are scared. If everybody says jump out of Malaysia and run to other countries, what are you going to do? So the advisory profession is very well guarded. So I wrote an initial article in the Age magazine and I said, why are you looking at these 1,000 people when there are 100,000 people selling insurance and unit trust without any without bat of an eye? You're pushing products. Is it good for the client? So whereas the regulator cannot, whereas he focuses on this small little financial planning group, hardly active 1,000 people. So what I'm saying is that we got to get it right. There must be very good communication. In the early days there was, but now I don't know what's happening. But maybe I'm not active anymore in that sense. But we got to have this industry, regulator, marketplace communication going. And I must say, FPAM is doing a good job. They have a public presence, and MII, I'm sure. But everybody is holding their turf. You don't enter my insurance field. Insurance says, I also want to enter investment. And now banks are saying, let me handle all the products, insurance, investment. We want to sell everything. And when you look at the caliber of these people, they don't include a team of advisors. You are not the quarterback. You are everything. You're all in one. So that's my grievance right now. But if we keep working on value proposition, a financial planner has fantastic value to offer to the client. And the clients must experience it, and then they will give you the validation. Fantastic. Financial planners are doing a great job. I'm so grateful to that. Now, that's my message.
Yes, and totally agree, as always, because the more that the clients or the people can find the value that a financial planner gives to the table, the more they'll be able to provide that positive message to their families and their friends, right? And the more that and the more people are willing to have that conversation and to reach out to financial planners and help them with whatever they need in order to be financially literate and start their journey.
May I add one more? Let that be my concern. What I want to add, we keep saying financial literacy, but what annoys me is that numeracy is very important. Just the simple 5 variables in a financial calculator can do wonders to your ability to understand what's going on. You understand the massive task goal ahead of you. So financial numeracy is also important. Most people will shy away. They don't calculate. It's so simple. That's the irony of it. It's so simple, but they shy away from it. So today I would like to use the words in union: financial literacy and numeracy. So we cannot. It's just like I wanted to sort of thought about it when I wanted to do my MBA in England. They have asked us to do a GMAT, GMAT, Graduate Management Admission Test, and it was divided between you have to be literate and numerical. You have to be quantitative and qualitative. So that is the skill that we must bring to the financial planning. That he's both aware and also is quantitative. So numeracy and literacy must go together for financial planning.
That is absolutely a good point. That's very well put. So yes, I think that's a very interesting concept that not a lot and I think that it's in people's minds, but they don't apply it as readily. So I'm glad that you brought that up, financial numeracy. So yes, that's really something to think about. But so in this case, you help professionals, right? You give talks, you give seminars to financial professionals to increase their knowledge and understanding with regards to tax and financial planning, so that they can help their clients learn and to be not only financially literate, but to apply what they have learned to and be financially how do you say that? Financially numerical?
It's okay. Literate is fine, but I'm just adding the dimension of numeracy too.
Yes, but I guess what I'm trying to ask here is that how can so for the financial planners who are listening to this podcast, like, if they're in a place that they want to do more, but then they're stuck, like, what's your advice for them to give on how to start this journey for their clients in order to be their clients' quarterback?
Okay. Yeah, as I said, you must cover the three strong bases, which is insurance, tax and investment. And then estate planning will come at a certain stage, and financial management, the financial planner can easily handle. So the minute you also look into the three very important areas, the fulcrum, almost like baseball, the three bases. So insurance, tax and investments, and then you cover the other tertiary other areas. So yeah, you just have to participate in education. You like, I think many Malaysian financial planners do. I have lots of them entering my seminars on tax and all that. At the same time, I'm aware that there's a personal dimension. So a financial planner, as my friend used to say from America, another famous friend of mine, Jerry Sewer, you were saying, we hold the hands of the client. So there is a lot of a personal aspect in managing money. Everybody knows that. How many of you like to do budgets and skip no variance in your budget, keep to your budget? My father was like that. I saw Rajan, how grateful he was to his father. And I also know my father was a fantastic bookkeeper. He was an accountant as a clerical person. He was an accountant for the Accountant General's office in the government. And he had 9 children and he had to put them through. Without budgeting, no way he could have done it. Without discipline, no way he could have done it. So therefore, this angle of the personal angle is where the financial planner must show his skill. That means he understands the client's behavior, financial habits, circumstances, everything. So this part of bonding with the client, understanding, let's say if you have a person who gambles, wow, that's a tough one. Very hard to help him, he's got some very serious weaknesses, vices. So therefore, this aspect, that's why I used to give a lecture where what are the balance sheet assets that you don't see and what are the balance sheet liabilities that you don't see. So tangible, what is obvious is one, but what is intangible is the other area. So this is what the financial planner brings in. He really understands the client. Then he must bring in the advisors of the different fields. So the industry and then the regulators must talk to even people like me. They know don't have to. But the point is this: somebody who has seen the world, who's got an idea of what's going on. So they should sort of say, okay, but of course, I'm just exaggerating here. But what I'm trying to say is that the structure of the industry and the way forward, let's say they have got 400 billion plan for the next 5 years. So the point is this: now, can we bring about better financial education? And the financial literacy that they're understanding is, please save so much, don't be indisciplined and this and that. There are deep and not so deep. So it's like oil, there are oil very deep and oil not so deep. So I think the whole industry must again start the effervescence, that the dynamism that we had in the early 2000s must be brought back after the pandemic. Of course, the pandemic is a dampener. It crushed a lot of us. But then again, it gave me a chance to, I think I've been on material to bring out a book on financial planning. I have a seminar coming on 15th of November where I want to bring in the various elements, and show what financial planning can do for a client. So that's on the 15th of November. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I'm looking forward to that. So my final question for you, Bose, is that if financial planners want to, say, get into one of your classes or get into one of your talks, what can they usually expect from you?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because as I even posted the question, in one day, what can you learn? In 8 hours, what can you learn? Yeah. And it took me 30 years to be where I am today. And before that, I already was well immersed in taxation. Yeah. So all I'm saying is this, you got to know your horizon, what's in it. So first you get exposed to what's in financial planning. How deep will they go? How can they help me? So when you see the full gamut, the full spectrum of what financial planners can bring to the table, you realize the depth with which it goes. Many are not needing, they don't need, they just buy an insurance, buy some investments, and that's about it. Get out of debt, and that's all they can afford. But the point is, if everybody manages their money well, there's more money in savings, there's more money can go into productive investments. And as Warren Buffett says, it's the economy that we worry about. The economy must be vibrant. Okay, so therefore we contribute. When people's money are allocated well, and when they see their money growing, and there's money to be spent, money to be invested, more production of services, our standard of living goes up.
Yes, definitely.
So that's what it's all about. And also international exposure. I must say very quickly, I was in Makati and Manila to give a talk. Yeah. Nice. I was there. I was shocked at the discrepancy of what you pay the depositors of a savings account and what was the minimum interest rate charged by the institution. The gap is so big. The margin is so big. No wonder every bank is in Manila. I see everybody is in Manila. So the point is this: there's so much profit margin there. Whereas here in Malaysia, we are competing. So the industries are competing. I like the healthy competition. So the margin cannot be very big. So we try. So as Warren Buffett wanted, I mean, if the bankers and everybody starts making too much money, then somebody is losing somewhere.
Yeah.
And so this is education. This scriptwriter. We closed our very good magazine, Personal Money. Even the smart investor is not. I heard Rajan talking about it. He's a founding editor and all that. So see, the education, it should not stop. The magazine should not stop. You should not stop. You are doing a great job, Gwen. Well done to your team. Yeah, well done.
Yes. Thank you so much. Well, and I definitely agree. I think I think the lesson that you just shared is one of the key message that I want people to realize is the more that they handle and their money well, the easier it is for our economy to boost. And it's like a win-win situation for everyone, right? So, and that's why I love the opportunity that XY Media has provided me in order to reach out to financial planners to share their best practices to other financial planners. So it's like you And I'm sure that once financial planners, not only in Malaysia, but the rest of Southeast Asia, can hear your message about the importance of financial education and the application of that education for their clients is important, it would help like maximize the message of the need for a more financial a more solid financial education, more putting a spotlight on.
In a summary, I'll give you a stats on this. The stats is this: we have one of the highest car ownership in the world. We have the third largest car ownership in the world, and in terms of multiple cars, we are the largest car ownership in the world. Now, is car an increasing asset or a wasting asset? So can you see? Not. Yeah, and we have a 83% household debt. So that is very high.
That's very high.
Misdirected money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because the flamboyant people and their flashy cars and their houses are promoted versus a frugal living, somebody working. And in fact, so it has to be a concerted all round good thinking, critical thinking, not what I'm saying today. So that's a sad note, but that's hope. Malaysians, my generation and generation after ours, we are very exciting, entertaining. We lived well. We saw the world. Malaysians were all over the world. We are one of the highest percentage of foreign students come from Malaysia in many of these countries, England, Australia, America. So Malaysians saw the world. They are aware of what's going on in the world. We are very literate compared to, I know Americans may not be even as red or white knowledgeable as Malaysians sometimes. I see that. So the point is this. We shouldn't lose this. But if we don't guide our politicians, our civil service and all of them to look at a healthy perspective of what I said earlier and you looked on, that means let's generate that enthusiasm for financial literacy, numeracy. Let's increase the efficiency of our allocation of our limited resources. Let's see a very good retirement life. Let's see a very happy country. Then you guys die and go to heaven. God bless you. leave earth as a heaven. Make earth your heaven.
Yes.
So that is first. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Well said, Bose. So I guess now, thank you so much for coming into the show and sharing those knowledge and very good points that I think is important for financial planners to hear and even regular people as well. But before we end the show, if anyone wants to reach out to you or anyone wants to get into one of your talks or one of your seminars, where can they find you or where can they reach you?
Yeah, the best thing is I keep promoting my email address, but nobody wants to write. Today is the tick the box kind of audience, Nobody wants to say KP Bose. That's my email, KP Bose. KP stands for King of Planning. So King of Planning Bose. Yeah, kpbose@gmail.com. Write me a note. I'll tell you what's on. And if I'm, and then another friend of mine said he's busy participating in so many free webinars. He attends so many free webinars. A lot of knowledge. Just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, keep your heart open. And I like what Rajan, he likes to do something for charity. So therefore, we become interested, not interesting. That's a big word I learned. You be interested in what's going on in the world and in your family and in things around you. So I am interested in what's going on around me. So that's why I dare to comment, I dare to say something, and we cannot lose this. This aspiration for helping, knowing, knowledge must continue. Okay, so that's my message, and kpbose@gmail.com. They can write in and ask me what's going on, and I'll let them know.
Wonderful. And I'll be sure to put your email into the description box in this podcast as well as in the show notes so that people can finally ask you what's going on. So again, thank you so much for coming into the show, Bose. You have a good one.
Thank you. Let me bless your effort. I like what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You too. Keep up the good work, or the great work. More power.
Okay. Cheers.